We're about to explore 5 habits that truly changed my life in just 1 week. Yes, you heard that right, 1 week. I know it might sound hard to believe, but I assure you, these aren't the usual tips you hear everywhere. These are genuine, real-life habits that I personally adopted into my daily routine. I went through the challenges, the breakthroughs, and the victories, and the transformation I experienced was nothing short of incredible. I can't wait to share them with you. I'm excited to share these habits with you because they've had such a big impact on my life, and I believe they can do the same for you. Whether you're looking to be more productive, improve your mental health, or just make a positive change, these habits can help. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Stick around until the end. These aren't just ideas, they're real steps you can start using today. Plus, I'll be sharing some personal stories too. I'm going to share some personal stories and insights from my journey to give you an honest look at how these habits worked for me. So, let's get started with the first habit, waking up early. This habit changed my life. To be honest, I was never a morning person. My bed was my favorite place, and I pressed the snooze button more times than I can count. Mornings were always a rush, and I often felt like I was starting my day badly. I decided to try waking up early, and let me tell you, it changed everything. I started by setting my alarm for 5 a.m. The first few days were tough. I remember dragging myself out of bed feeling tired and wondering if this was really worth it. But I kept going, and by the 3rd day, something amazing happened. I began to enjoy the quiet and stillness of the early morning. There was something almost magical about being awake before everyone else, when everything was calm and peaceful. Those extra hours made a big difference. In the morning, I found time for things I never seemed to have time for before. I started my day with some light exercise, not anything too hard, just stretching or a short jog around the neighborhood. This not only woke me up, but also gave me energy for the rest of the day. I also spent some time meditating and thinking about my goals for the day. These few moments of calm made a big difference in how I felt and how much I got done. Another surprising benefit of waking up early was that I no longer felt rushed. I had plenty of time to enjoy a healthy breakfast, slowly sip my coffee, and plan my day. This relaxed start set a positive tone for the whole day. I was more organized, less stressed, and felt more in control of my time. One personal experience that really stands out was the morning I watched the sunrise from my balcony. It was a simple but deeply beautiful moment. As the sky changed colors and the world slowly woke up, I felt a deep sense of gratitude and peace. In that moment, I truly understood the power of waking up early. Waking up early might not be for everyone, but I encourage you to give it a try, even if it's just for a week. Start by waking up just 15 minutes earlier than your usual time, and slowly increase it. You might be surprised at how much of a positive impact it can have on your life. It's not just about having more hours in the day, but about using those hours to create a more mindful, intentional, and fulfilling start to your day. Speaking of workouts, daily exercise was the second habit that truly changed my life. Let me be honest, I wasn't always the most active person. I used to find every excuse to avoid working out. I'm too tired, I don't have time. Or I'll start tomorrow. Sound familiar? But one day I decided enough was enough. I made a promise to myself to move my body every day for a week, and the results were incredible. I started small, just 20 minutes a day, switching between yoga, jogging, and strength training to keep things interesting so I wouldn't get bored and quit halfway through. The first few days were tough. My muscles were sore, and I felt tired, but I reminded myself why I was doing this, to feel better, both physically and mentally. By the 4th day, something amazing happened. I woke up feeling more energized, my mood had improved, and I was less irritable and more positive. I realized that those 20 minutes of exercise weren't just about burning calories or building muscle. They were about giving myself time to focus on me, release stress, and boost my endorphins. I remember one morning when I laced up my sneakers for a jog. It was a crisp, clear day, and as I ran, I felt a sense of freedom and clarity that I hadn't felt in a long time. It was just me, the open road, and my thoughts. That connection to myself and the world around me was truly empowering. I also started to see physical changes. My posture improved, I felt stronger, and I noticed an overall improvement in my fitness. But the biggest change was in my mindset. Exercise became my time to disconnect from the world and reconnect with myself. It became a form of self-care instead of a chore. A personal highlight was trying yoga for the first time. At first I was hesitant, thinking I wasn't flexible enough or that it wouldn't be a real workout. But after a few sessions I fell in love with it. Yoga taught me to be present, breathe deeply, and listen to my body. It was a transformative experience that went beyond the physical benefits. Incorporating daily exercise into my routine made me realize that taking care of my body directly impacts my mental health and overall happiness. It's not about being perfect or pushing yourself to the limit. It's about finding a type of movement you enjoy and making it a regular part of your life. So, If you're like I was, struggling to get started, my advice is to start small. Find something you enjoy, whether it's dancing, hiking, or even just a brisk walk. I commit to a few minutes a day and build up from there. Trust me, the benefits you'll experience will be worth the effort. So this habit has the power to change not just your body, but your whole outlook on life. So the third habit is journaling. I used to think journaling was only for people with lots of free time or those who were naturally thoughtful. I was doubtful. Who has time to sit and write about their day when there's so much going on? But after 1 week of consistent journaling, my perspective completely changed, and it became a key part of my personal growth journey. As the days passed, I began to dig deeper. I wrote about my goals, fears, dreams, and even insecurities. It felt like having a conversation with myself, and that's when the magic happened. I started to see patterns in my thoughts and actions. I realized that some things I worried about were completely out of my control, while others were areas where I could take action. One night, I wrote about a particularly stressful day at work. By putting my thoughts on paper, I was able to process my emotions better. I wrote about what specifically stressed me out, how it made me feel, and what I could do differently for next time. This simple act of reflection helped me gain clarity and feel more in control of my emotions. Another powerful part of journaling was tracking my progress. I wrote down small victories and milestones, no matter how minor they seemed. Looking back at these entries gave me a sense of accomplishment and motivated me to keep going. For example, I wrote about a presentation I was nervous about and how I prepared for it. Seeing my preparation and the positive result written in my journal was incredibly encouraging. I also added a gratitude section in my journal. Every day I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for, and this practice shifted my focus from what was missing in my life to appreciating what I already had. It was a simple, yet powerful change that brought more positivity into my daily life. And one special entry I remember was about a random act of kindness. A stranger helped me when I was struggling with my grocery bags. Writing about this act of kindness made me feel grateful and inspired me to pass on the kindness to others. Through journaling, I learned a lot about myself, my desires, fears, strengths, and weaknesses. It became a form of therapy, a way to untangle the complex thoughts and emotions we all carry. It provided a safe space where I could be completely honest with myself without fear of judgment. If you've never tried journaling, I highly encourage you to start. Don't worry about writing perfectly or having deep thoughts. Just write whatever comes to mind. It could be a stream of thoughts, a recap of your day, or reflections on a specific event. Give yourself the freedom to express whatever you feel. You might be surprised at how much clarity and peace journaling can bring into your life. Remember, it's not about what you write, it's about the process of writing itself. Next is mindful eating. This was a big one for me because, like many people, I used to eat on the go, barely paying attention to what or how much I was eating. My meals were often rushed and distracted, eaten while scrolling through my phone or working on my laptop. I didn't realize how much this was affecting my overall well-being until I decided to try mindful eating for a week. Mindful eating is all about paying full attention to the experience of eating and drinking, both inside and outside the body. It's about savoring each bite, noticing the flavors, textures, and even the sounds of your food. So I made a commitment to eat all my meals mindfully. I started by setting the scene for my meals. I cleared my dining table, set a nice place for myself, and removed all distractions, no phone, no TV, no laptop. At first, it felt strange to sit quietly with my meal, but it quickly became a calming routine. Before eating, I took a few deep breaths to center myself and bring my focus to the present moment. One of the first things I noticed was how much more I enjoyed my food. I took the time to really taste and appreciate each bite. Foods I'd eaten hundreds of times before suddenly had new, delightful flavors and textures that I had never noticed before. For example, the crunch of fresh vegetables and the sweetness of ripe fruit became much more noticeable and enjoyable. It was like experiencing food in high definition. Another major change was how much more satisfied I felt after meals. By eating slowly and mindfully, I gave my body time to signal when it was full. This was a big shift for me, as I used to eat quickly and often ended up overeating. By paying attention to my hunger and fullness cues, I found that I naturally ate less and felt more satisfied. One memorable experience was with a simple bowl of oatmeal. Normally, I would eat it quickly without a second thought, but this time I took it slow, savoring the creamy texture and the subtle sweetness of the honey I drizzled on top. It became a moment of gratitude and mindfulness that set a positive tone for the rest of my day. I also started to notice how different foods made me feel. Heavy, processed foods left me feeling sluggish and bloated, while fresh, whole foods made me feel energized and light. This awareness led me to make healthier choices naturally, without feeling deprived or restricted. Another part of mindful eating is being aware of the emotional connections we have with food. I started to recognize when I was eating out of boredom, stress, or emotional comfort rather than true hunger. This awareness was powerful. Instead of mindlessly snacking, I could address the real emotion. Maybe I needed a break, some relaxation, or a chat with a friend. instead of a bag of chips. One evening, I had a craving for something sweet after dinner. Instead of automatically reaching for dessert, I paused and asked myself if I was truly hungry or just seeking a reward after a long day. I realized I wasn't actually hungry, so I chose a warm cup of herbal tea instead. It was a small victory that showed how powerful mindful eating can be. Incorporating mindful eating into my life was a transformative experience. It helped me build a healthier relationship with food, improved my digestion, and enhanced my overall sense of well-being. It's a habit I've continued beyond that initial week, and I can't recommend it enough. If you're interested in trying mindful eating, start with just one meal a day. Sit down without any distractions, take a few deep breaths, and savor each bite. Pay attention to the flavors, textures, and how the food makes you feel. You might be surprised at how this simple practice can change your entire eating experience. It's a wonderful way to reconnect with your body and truly appreciate the nourishment food provides. The fifth habit is limiting screen time. This one was particularly challenging for me, and I suspect it might be for many of you too. We live in a digital world, and it's easy to get caught up in endless hours of scrolling through social media, binge watching shows, or checking emails. But I realized all this screen time was affecting my mental health, productivity, and even my sleep. So I decided to set some boundaries and see what would happen. First, I set a daily limit of 1 hour for non-work related screen time. This meant no mindless scrolling through Instagram, no endless YouTube marathons, and no late-night TV binges. It was tough at first because I had become so used to filling every spare moment with screen time. But I knew I needed to make a change. The first thing I noticed was how much more time I had in my day. I didn't realize how much of my time was being taken up by screens until I consciously limited it. With those extra hours, I found myself rediscovering old hobbies and interests I had neglected. I picked up a book one had been meaning to read, started doodling and drawing again, and even tried cooking new recipes. One evening, instead of watching TV after dinner, I decided to take a walk in the park. The fresh air, the sounds of nature, and the simple act of moving my body felt incredibly refreshing. It was such a contrast to the usual feeling of being tired after too much screen time. That walk became a cherished part of my daily routine, something I looked forward to and enjoyed. Another big change was in my sleep quality. I used to take my phone to bed, scrolling through social media or watching videos until I felt sleepy. But this habit often left me feeling restless and led to poor sleep. By limiting screen time, especially before bed, I found it much easier to relax and fall asleep. I started a bedtime routine without screens, reading a physical book, meditating, or simply reflecting on my day. This change led to deeper, more restful sleep and made a huge difference in my overall energy levels. I also noticed improvements in my mental health. Without the constant stream of news updates, social media comparisons, and digital distractions, I felt much calmer and more focused. I felt less anxious and more present. I was more focused during conversations, more attentive to the people around me, and more engaged in my daily activities. It was like a fog had lifted, allowing me to see and experience life more clearly. One particularly memorable day was when I spent an entire afternoon at a local cafe with just a notebook and a pen. I wrote down my thoughts, planned some goals, and even sketched a bit. It was such a peaceful and productive time, free from digital interruptions. I felt more connected to myself and my surroundings in a way that screens had never allowed. Of course, there were moments of temptation and slips along the way. But each time I noticed myself reaching for my phone out of habit, I gently reminded myself of the benefits I was experiencing and redirected my focus to something more fulfilling. Limiting screen time is not about completely eliminating technology from your life. It's about creating a healthier balance and being more intentional with your time. If you're feeling overwhelmed or disconnected, I encourage you to try setting some screen time boundaries. Start small, maybe with 1 hour less each day, and gradually increase it. Use that extra time to reconnect with yourself, your loved ones, and the world around you. You might be surprised at how much richer and more fulfilling life can be when you step away from the screens and engage more with the real world. All right, everyone, that wraps up our journey through the 7 habits that dramatically changed my life in just 1 week. It's been an incredible experience not just to implement these habits, but also to share them with you. Each of these habits has the power to create significant positive changes in your life. And I truly believe that if they worked for me, they can work for anyone. If you've been inspired by any of these habits, I encourage you to try them out for yourself. Start small, maybe with 1 habit, and see how it feels. Adjust according to what suits your lifestyle and needs. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's about making small, manageable changes that add up to big transformations over time. I'd love to hear about your experiences. So please drop a comment below sharing which habit you're thinking of adopting or any questions you might have about starting. Your feedback and stories are what make this community so amazing and supportive. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of our future content. We have lots more insights and tips coming your way that you won't want to miss. Sharing this video with friends or family who might benefit from these habits could also make a huge difference in their lives.